What are you doing here? There's nothing here. And that is precisely what we're going to be doing today in this video. We are going to be doing nothing. We are going to embrace nothingness. This might be a complete waste of my time. But sometimes we just need to take a moment and do nothing. We just need to appreciate nothingness. I would like to start doing nothing. Let us do nothing. You did something, you lost. What did I do? I didn't do anything. Press the key to start doing nothing. And from here on out, for the rest of this video, we're just gonna do nothing. Like I said, there is no video. You know, I often find that in our modern age where technology is so prevalent and access to the internet is everything, we never really take that much time to just sit here and do nothing. There's a lot to be said with how busy everybody's life is. Like every time you ask somebody, what do you do during a day? I'm sure people could list off thousands of things that they've done. Checking your phone, sending emails, you gotta eat lunch, you gotta eat food, you gotta work, or if you're a student, you gotta do your homework and go to school. Life never really stops. So, you know, take this time, join me, and join me in doing nothing for, God, for however long I can keep this video going. God, I don't know why I thought this would be a great idea, but you know, we're here already. It's probably already in the editing stages. You know what? Editor me, keep them entertained somehow. I won't tell you how, but you'll figure it out later. Technically speaking, I'm not doing nothing. I'm sort of speaking into the voidness of nothing, assuming that I am currently doing nothing. I mean, technically I am doing nothing. Everything that I'm verbalizing is sort of just an internal monologue, just with an external voice. Speaking of, do you guys monologue in your heads in your own voice, or is it like a narrator? Is it somebody else's voice who's monologuing for you in your own head? I know some people don't have an internal monologue. I know that's a thing, but I've always wondered, is there anyone out there who has a monologue voice in their head that is not their own? Like, my goodness, if I had the internal monologue of like Morgan Freeman, or I don't know, who else has a really nice voice? I can't think of anyone. I mean, how cool would that be, right? But then again, for an internal monologue to happen, I do feel like there has to be some sort of personal connection to your internal voice. Or maybe it's just the voices in my head speaking to me differently today, who knows? Obviously, if I was good enough at rambling in front of a camera, we wouldn't have to do so many jump cuts here, but for the sake of continuity of the video, if you're here embracing nothingness, maybe like at least we'll keep your attention throughout the nothingness, assuming I have decent things to say that people are gonna stick around and listen to. God, it's only been 4.5 minutes. And this is exactly my point. Doing nothing is not something that we normally get to do very often. Time moves much slower when you're not doing anything. I feel like the days fly by so quickly because it's filled with stuff to do. Sometimes one day doesn't even feel like enough time. And yet I've been here for what, 5 minutes now? It feels like an eternity. Oh, a part of me is gonna regret making this video. I can feel it right now. But again, if you've made it this far in the video, I encourage you to stay here with me for as long as this goes. Probably shorter for you guys because I have to cut out the silences, but I'll go for as long as I can, which is probably not going to be long because I do have other things to do. You know what? Let's say half an hour. Half an hour of nothingness. If you and I can embrace nothingness for 30 minutes, this will be 30 minutes of pure bliss. Or 30 minutes of pure annoyance, depending on how you like the sound of my voice. I mean, you could keep the video on mute and then you could sit through the whole video and do nothing. And, you know, then what's the point? This is also sort of an excuse to get me to practice how to dialogue, how to continue my trail of thought. I often feel like the way that my brain works, I tend to speak in fragments, or my thoughts will be fragmented in between sentences because I'm already thinking like 3 sentences ahead of what I'm actually saying out of my mouth. Does anybody else do that? Do you ever just like think 3 sentences ahead, 3, 4, 5 sentences ahead, and somehow what comes out of your mouth is just word garbage? Like none of the sentences make sense anymore because you already skipped to the next chapter or something. It's a very strange phenomena. Speaking of verbal phenomena, I also do this really weird thing. I'll like swap the first syllables or the first letters of two different words, and that's what it comes out as. It doesn't even happen consciously. Sometimes it's just like a word jumble. For example, if I were to say something like cell phone, I would probably say something more like fellscone. That was a terrible example. I take that back. I can't think of a better example right now, but you get the point, right? It's just we're mixing up letters, and I don't know if anybody else does that. Maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe I'm just really dumb. You know, for having done nothing for 10 minutes, I feel like a lot has already happened up here. I don't know, should I just like... No, okay. Almost at 10 minutes. Third of the way through. I highly doubt this video will get published. Oh, if this video gets published, if people, okay, I don't mind if the video gets published, but if people watch this, I have questions for you all. Why are you here? 10-minute mark, perfect, great. We got 20 more minutes of this to go. I mean, as much as I joke about it, this actually, it doesn't feel bad. Like I feel great. Just a moment to sit here and like embrace the thoughts that are coming out of my head and the existential dread that it all includes. But that's besides the point, right? Sometimes you just gotta sit in discomfort. Not that this is uncomfortable or anything. I just feel unproductive. I'm the type of person that needs to be doing something. So then by doing nothing, I'm sort of counteracting that urge to do something, and yet I'm doing something by doing nothing. So then if I'm doing nothing, am I doing something then? Or is nothing not anything, but rather something is nothing? How does a person do nothing if nothing is something to do? You know what? We'll let the YouTube comments answer that one. Riddle me that. I mean, again, I can't really imagine just sitting here. I mean, think about it. Who in their right mind has enough time to set out time to do nothing? There's never been a moment in my life, both as an adult, as a teenager, as a child, where, you know, the first thing you write down in your planner is, I'm gonna set out time to do nothing today. It's never a thing. It's never been a thing. I don't think it ever will be a thing. You know what? This is the video. This is the trend setter. We're gonna start a new trend. The next time you have a spare moment in your calendar, set out time to do nothing. Literally write it out. Put it down as 7 p.m. after dinner. I'm gonna sit here and do nothing for 20 minutes of my time. We're gonna do nothing. Sit here, reflect, think. No, you can't think. Because if you're thinking you're doing something, you gotta do nothing. Oh, but if you're doing nothing, but not doing nothing means you're doing something. Oh. If I make that joke more than once in this video, I'm sorry. You know, the more that I'm like here doing nothing, the more that I realize how slow my brain moves. I feel like I've only talked about like a couple of things. I mean, again, I will see it, editor me. I see you. But only 13 minutes have gone by. I feel as if no time has passed, and yet a lot of time has passed. Does that make sense? Does any of this make sense? Is this even gonna be a video? We won't know until I see the footage, right? It might just be a bunch of me making a bunch of nonsense. No, I can't say that though, because if you're here, if you've made it to this point in the video, comment down below. Comment down below the time that you currently are at, and oh goodness, I don't know. Tell me how you spent your nothing. Tell me how nothing was spent today. If you did nothing with me here in this video, comment down below how long you did nothing for. Because otherwise, if you didn't post, it didn't happen, right? Though I guess in this, right, if you're watching the video, you're not really doing nothing. You're watching a video, which means you're doing something. So then if you're doing something, then that means doing nothing is doing something by watching the video. You know what? I stand corrected. Join me today in doing something together. Today we're gonna be doing something which is nothing. By doing nothing, we are all doing something together as a collective. Join me, join us, join everybody and embracing nothing, which is the something, which could be anything, but is also nothing. .org. Oh, at this point, I think I'm just practicing speech skills because I feel like if I can't come up with something to talk about, this video is kind of obsolete. It's kind of pointless. But then again, it's very thematic. We are doing nothing. So if we're void of thought, are we doing nothing? You know what? Actually, join me in a minute of silence. Let us do nothing for 1 minute. I will stand here. I'm standing, by the way. I will stand here for a full minute and do nothing. Feel free to jump ahead 1 minute in the video if you don't want to do nothing with me. And the time starts now. Okay, and that's 1 minute. And congratulations, you've officially done 1 minute of nothing. I don't know how I'm gonna keep this up. I did say at the beginning that I would go as long as I could. I do have the patience for this. I just don't know if I have enough content for this. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the message that we're trying to send here today. Because what is content? This is content. Nothing is content. If content is nothing, then what are we consuming? We're consuming nothing. There's nothing here. There is no video here. What did I say at the beginning of the video? You're hallucinating. You're dreaming. There's nothing here. Your browser's not even open. Check your browser. What are you watching on? It doesn't exist in front of you. There's nothing. This is all in your imagination. This is all a simulation. What other Asian words are there? If nothing can be content, then I petition that we change the content space today. With this video here, we are going to normalize and we are going to revolutionize content in such a way where nothing can become content. We do not have to have a specific niche. We don't have to cater to a specific audience. We can just embrace nothing. For nothing is content. Because you can't forget, nothing is something. Honestly, speaking about content, on a more serious note, right? Like I've been making jokes for the past, I don't know how many minutes here. I would like to address the issue of like the ADHD editing style with like 15 million jump cuts per second on any type of video. I don't know about you guys, but me personally, my eyes cannot keep up with that many flashing frames every time I watch a video. Sometimes the video concepts are really, really cool. I really genuinely want to watch the video, but within the first minute of the video, I genuinely feel like there are at least 30 to 50 jump cuts that happen, or like transition effects that happen even before we get to the meat of the video. And I just can't stand that type of editing style. Obviously, if you go back and watch my older videos, you can see that I totally do not embrace the style of editing, even though it does work and maintains audience retention. But the video itself, it should speak for itself. Like I appreciate the fact that they're taking so much time and effort to splice all these things up and piece it all together. But sometimes I feel like it's not necessary. It doesn't feel like it is needed to get the point across. Like, for example, I'm speaking to you all here right now through this camera, through this microphone. I do not need a megaphone to get my point across, nor do I need like any sort of unnecessary thing. It's literally you and me in front of your computer screen having a dialogue. We're having a dialogue. Sometimes less is more. I genuinely believe this. However, the current state of content that it exists out in the world today doesn't necessarily reflect that, in my opinion. I really feel like people are going overboard with like content ideas, with editing styles, with marketing. People are prioritizing viewership over their creativity sometimes. YouTube is not the same space that it was when it first started. I go on this rant a lot, but I think this is the first time that I'm saying this on YouTube. For those of you who don't know, like YouTube's initial release, it was a video sharing platform. It had nothing to do with business. It was just a place where you could upload videos and share it with your friends, your family, or whoever was out there. Over time, though, these YouTube videos would get popular, and of course, as any business would, you would want to monetize the thing so that if it works, you want to grow off of it, you want to benefit from it. And this was just like at the beginning of the social media content creator craze, where suddenly a bunch of, dare I say, a bunch of nobodies turned into a bunch of somebodies on the internet. A lot of the OG YouTubers, content creators, Twitch streamers were all a bunch of nobodies to begin with. If you go listen to their origin stories, if they've ever talked about it, or like listen to their upbringing through the platform, you'll know that these people were not necessarily noteworthy people that, you know, would be internationally well known. And so it was a space of opportunity. It still is, but I do feel like we've sort of shifted from a creative standpoint to a more business marketing standpoint. The game crashed. All right, I guess it didn't want us to do nothing for longer. We're just gonna add to the time. Editor me, add a timer below the current timer, adding on the time that we just lost. Because I did not touch anything. The game crashed. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the state of YouTube, in my opinion. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a musician. I'm by no means any content creator or gamer. I would like to be, you know, that's why I do these videos. They're a lot of fun to make, and it gives me an opportunity to speak. A lot of my favorite YouTube videos growing up were really entertaining. They were very meaningful too, some of them. For me as a viewer back in the day, wow, I sound old. As a viewer on YouTube, I felt inspired, I felt entertained, I felt compelled to do what they were doing because they were all pursuing their creative routes. Needless to say, as an Asian American growing up, seeing Asian people in media was a huge deal for I guess, first generation Asian Americans. In my opinion, I think YouTube was the first space to revolutionize the idea that Asians could be regular people too in film, in media. Because okay, now we're really going on a rant here. This is no longer doing nothing. A lot of the Asian stereotypes we got growing up were that we were the nerds. We were always the ones that did our homework every time. We would sort of stay at home, study all day, or like be extraordinary at a very specific thing, like violin playing. This guy. Obviously, stereotypes hold some truth, but if you're growing up and these are the only redeeming factors that you have based on your external appearance, it doesn't really help. So I do think that YouTube as a space offered a space where Asians, Asian Americans, and just Asians in general, or people in general, could express themselves freely through their video creations, whether it would be for an entertaining purpose, whether it would be for like recording a short film, whether it just be like showing the coolest thing that you found recently. Like the possibilities were endless back in the day. But I feel like now YouTube has sort of devolved into this space where you have to meticulously map out every single decision that you make on this platform, how to name your titles, what your thumbnail looks like, the content of the video, like my camera decides to turn off. It's a very different space. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, and I'm not saying that I'm not willing to embrace that kind of culture, but the kind of videos that I personally would like to make are in sort of that older style. You know, since the timer reset, I genuinely don't know how much time has passed. I forgot to look at when I started. You know what? I might leave this one here. Thank you all for doing nothing with me today. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the state of YouTube in its current stages. I would like to know. Thank you all for I don't know, doing nothing with me today for however long this video goes for, you know, here, there. Here is the final time. Where? Here is the final time. Congratulations on making it this far of doing nothing. I'm gonna go do something now. I'll see you all in the next video.